Just taking a reshoot just in case the video I took isn't usable. So I'm not at my desk today. I'm out for a run to test this camera. So I just got the DJI Osmo Action 4. Planning to go motor vlogging. So it's not the latest model, but I think it's going to do. I mean, it's done the job for a number of people for years now, right? So I've just got it on the pole arm at the moment. So just testing the lighting conditions and the audio, especially around the road. No external mic attached right now, just the inbuilt mic. Now, of course, I've got this microphones. Of course, I've got this camera, so I obviously need to put it somewhere. I plan to mount it to my helmet, of course. So I also picked up the DJI mount. It's the really grippy one, really strong grip. Do I recommend it? If you have multiple helmets that you plan to switch between, sure. But maybe not even for your best helmets. It's got such a firm clamp and some rubber teeth. And I feel like they kind of potentially damage the inside padding or the structure on the chin region. It really digs in there. I mean, I know you want it to have a good grip, but I'd be worried if you're putting it on and taking it on and off all the time. It's going to soften up that bit, the foam in the front there. It's maybe going to cause some damage. So I wouldn't recommend it on your premium helmets, basically. And if you only have one, you don't need it. So just get a normal one that straps to or sticks to the helmet. I think that's the better option. So, of course, then I need a helmet. So I picked up a new helmet, the Kabuto Cameo 3. This is a Japanese brand. Kabuto is kind of like rank 3 in Japan for Japanese brands. You got Arai and Shoei, which is the two top brands probably in the world, but they're the top Japanese brands. Kabuto comes just underneath. I'd say it's equivalent to AGV. And just for some context, the name Kabuto it's actually the same, or it's taken from the old word for the samurai's helmet. So samurai's helmet is Kabuto. So it's kind of like using the historical significance, the samurai significance, to bring some culture, some brand to the name. Give it a bit more power within Japan, at least, anyway. So that's a little bit about Kabuto. So that's the helmet that I picked up. Quick thing about helmets, actually. They're all different shapes, as you may know, but Japanese head shapes tend to be more oval than Western. So all the helmets are actually a different shape here. Strangely enough, my head actually fits basically all the helmets I've tried, much better than anything I tried in Europe. So it seems I have an oval head. So why did I get the helmet right now when I don't have a bike? Well, I wanted to test ride the bike, so I got the helmet just before or on the day of my test ride of the Triumph Street Triple 765 RS and the Daytona 660. But I didn't have the camera at the time, so I couldn't record any of that for kind of content for you guys. So I've got the camera now, I've got the helmet, I just need the bike. So that's what's next. I've got a day off next weekend, potentially going to put down the money on the bike, and it should be ready sometime next month. As I said, the bike that I've chosen is the Street Triple 765 RS. I'm planning to motor vlog around Japan, I guess. Some hesitation about that. It's Street Triple is very sports orientated. I've always ridden sports bikes, so I'm much more comfortable with those. The only difference is it's got risers, and I've never ridden a bike with risers until I test rode this bike. And I feel like it takes a lot of obviously it takes a strain off of your wrists, but then I feel like that puts strain on other regions, which I'm probably not used to. So that's something I'll have to adapt to, having more stress through my lower back or my legs, my hips. Those are my weakest regions. I actually have stronger wrists. Never had any trouble riding my 600s or my Fireblade as a daily rider commuting to and from work, or to and from my hometown to the city of work, 2 or 3 hours through country roads. Never had any wrist pain. Always hip pain, if anything. So now with the 765 being more sporty with risers, that's one thing to worry about. So let me know what you guys think, because I've seen a lot of people tour on these bikes, but just I myself have never toured on anything other than a sports bike. Also, if you yourself have considered a 765 or ridden a 765 and then you've gone for something else, I'd be interested to know what you chose, because I've looked at the Z900 as well, but I don't know, something about these designs just don't quite tick the boxes for me. The 765, yes, it does from 80% of directions. There's a direction from the rear which I really am not keen on, and also it's the very compact, very small bikes, the Triumphs. So that's the other concern, whether it's just a bit too small for 6'1" rider. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Hopefully this turns out better than the first video. I'll let you get back to the other one. I forgot to go to the shop. See you later. Okay, so the first part involved having these tabs on the plastic parts that would interlock, and then we could bond or weld them together, bond them with adhesive, or melt the plastic together, and that would be the idea of this method. It's going to rely quite heavily on the tolerances of your 3D printer and also when you finish it. Also, I would recommend considering the paint thickness. If you're going to be painting this first and then putting it together, that's probably not a great idea, because you're going to have paint between the pieces and increasing the thickness of these parts, which is going to reduce the gaps that you put in. So definitely to consider the layer height on the prints as well, because the current tolerances I put in there is probably not big enough to account for layer heights. If I was to do this again, I would model these tabs slightly higher up, giving a little bit more clearance, because it doesn't matter as long as when you pull it down you can bond it together. So I start with the surface, which I duplicate. I trim both, thicken them, and then I pull the surfaces away from each other to give us a small amount of clearance. We can then use the edge as the path to sweep a profile down, which will act as the tab for joining these two surfaces together. I then made an additional 2 features just to see if that would give us a better fit, a better connection. But overall, I think this example is a little bit too small scale. It would definitely need to be something a bit bigger to get a realistic idea. So the second part is more similar to when we bring, say, the lower cowl together, or various body parts. You have a cutout for this tab. Now this part actually came out quite nice, forgiving the poor quality surface here. I think this worked quite well. What I would do to improve this though would be to actually extend the material on the underside, so this actually wasn't just pivoting around the bolt hole and actually had a surface to come up against nicely. So currently this is actually my favorite method. Just have a small washer on here with the bolt to fix that. I think that'd be quite nice. With this method though, we would be fixing to something, so we'll probably have a metal bracket on the frame that this is fixing to. Now, like the previous model, I actually made this surface slightly curved, but for the tab feature I used the extend tool to pull a straight edge. On reflection, I think it would be better to have this curved, because the opposing surface or the mating surface is also likely to be curved there. I mean, of course, if this surface is extremely curved, then we'd want a straight surface there, but in this case it's extremely small scale. And usually for a feature like this, it's not going to be just a tab coming into this small slot and expecting those edges to come together. It is going to have some kind of surface behind that's going to help the mating part rest evenly together, and so that you can bring those edges much closer together. The important thing about body panels is ensuring your tolerance stacks have been checked. so that any of your mounting brackets, you've controlled the position of those so that your tolerances aren't too excessive, and you can control the panel gaps. So for this one, I'm actually thinking about my old CBR 600F. It has a plastic infill which bolts to the tank and then the fairing around the dash. I wanted to see how I could join two pieces, say from a side piece to a top piece. So that was what I was playing around with here. Obviously this is a very rough basic concept. So next time I want to make something a little bit more production quality. See if we can get something really nice. So here I'm actually looking at the clearances to see whether I need to increase the clearance or whether I should reduce it to create more interference with the fit. The last method that I modeled initially has these two parts. What I was thinking was this would be, say, just next to your cowl, next to your tank, and you've got an infill that you want to connect to the upper fairing panel. And so here we have the tab that's going to come into the underside here. Now currently the way it's been modeled, it's a little bit tight. It's not going to just push down like this because it needs to slide in. So how this is going to work is, if this is a real part, we're going to just pull up and flex the back, and that's going to allow the hook to come in, and then it's got a really nice tight fit as we slide that across. Obviously of course, if this is going to be painted, those layers of paints are really going to make a difference. It's going to affect this fitment, so that needs to be taken into consideration. And for this location with the weld nut, this material in general just needs to be thicker, and then give additional clearance for that captive nut or the metal bracket that's going to be coming in here. I noticed when I was doing this, this is actually just very tight. The clearances there is not enough. So for that reason, I decided to print another set, which will be ready shortly, with some additional features, some different features, hopefully for some better retention and easier install. Okay, so the changes I want to make is to extend this a little bit further away from the surface to give a bit more clearance, and then create a small hook feature, and then also add a small catch on the mating component. I think that's going to be a bit more firmer and a bit of a nicer fitment than what it currently is. So I actually want this piece to kind of ramp over the step there. So that's why I've added in the chamfer on this at the end, but not on the other side, because I actually want it to catch the step. Okay, so the previous design is quite a tight fit, and it fits together quite nicely, but it's just because it's so tight, it's got this friction. It's not really good. Over time that's going to wear out, and it's not ideal. So we got this new feature where we have the hook a little bit bigger with a little, well, we have the tab a little bit bigger with a hook. This time we are still going to need some flex, just a small amount to put it in, and then as we push it across, it's going to get caught on the step, pushed over the step. When the hole is lined up, when you push back, it's hooked nicely against that step. The problem with this one though is we have all this extra space, so that means that for this tab I need to redesign the tab so that this part, the internal part, stops just before the edge of the slot. So that'll be the next revision. Okay, so we have the very tight sliding fit. Then printed this one with a long tab with a hook and a new top piece with a step. In this case it was a little flex, little hook in. Problem here is we have a bit too much slack. So I felt like this had a bit too much slack, so I redid it with a slightly shorter shorter tab. It just comes in nicely. We just drop it down and then just push it across, and then, I mean, you can just adjust the tolerances just a tiny bit. But otherwise I think that's quite a nice fit. Just have to be careful you don't wear gloves and do something clumsy like that and break it off. Anyway, that's something to develop going forward, and a few other ideas in mind to test as well. Just want to say thank you to anyone that actually made it to the end of this video. Just wanted to let you see a little bit of what's going on in the background. I kind of want to make this channel a little less serious and just a little bit more personal. So hopefully that comes across.